Good morning. If you are still afraid of raw milk in 2026, there is clearly a problem with you. You have been brainwashed by the Matrix, which has been trying to sell you some ultra-pasteurized milk that costs like fucking 60 cents a bottle. You know why? Because they're trying to keep millions of liters in the store, in the supermarket, right? Because if it was raw, you could only keep it a few days and then the cold chain would be broken and they would have to throw a lot of it and waste it, and then they would lose money. And then also, if you go into the conspiracy, blah, 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 apparently the family, which I'm not going to mention which one, that actually made the machines for pasteurizing the milk. So they sold those pasteurizing machines. This family that had a lot of money actually impacted the law such that every milk producer had to pasteurize the milk. It was illegal to sell raw milk. So you had to buy this machine, this pasteurizing machine, before selling the milk. Anyway, it's been made very clear that raw milk is so bad for the past 100 years, you know. But really, it's bullshit. And there's a lot of benefits in drinking raw milk, and the point of this video is to tell you what's the benefit in drinking raw milk. Because as you know, you might have seen my evolution on Instagram. I went from a little skinny boy to a big ass little boy in a couple, actually 3 years. But there was a phase where I gained 10 kilos of muscle, 10 kilos of mass in 6 months. And this happened with a lot of raw milk. And I didn't get fat. You can see me, I had the six pack on all the pictures. And the six pack stayed the whole fucking time. So it's not like, you know, it just made me fat. No, I gained a lot of muscle mass and had a very healthy ratio of muscle and fat. So healthy that you could still see the six pack and never went away. So, raw milk, let's get into it. The first benefit of raw milk is that it's a liquid. It's easy as fuck to drink. If you want to gain muscle mass, you know, you're going to probably aim for, depending if you're a man or a woman, aim for 200 grams of protein, 220, maybe 160. And depending on how much you can eat, your stomach, blah, 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 you know, if you're not going to drink whey powder, whey shakers like the gym bros, it's actually a little bit difficult to reach the high numbers of protein, right? So one of the ways to do it is to a liquid form. But instead of doing the weird fucking gym bro stuff, like you take a chicken fillet and you blend it up and with some egg whites and you drink fucking chicken like this, like a weird fuck. You just take 1 liter of raw milk. Guess how many proteins there is in 1 liter of raw milk? If your cow has been fed grains, it's probably 3.3 grams of protein per 100 grams, so 33 grams of protein per liter, which means it's literally a protein shaker in 1 liter of milk. So you might as well just drink the fucking liter of milk and get hydrated. Also, in the liter of milk, that's the next point, the balanced nutrition. But let's stay on this first point here. It's liquid, no powder, which means you drink it, it's going to be digested within 5 minutes. I mean, it's going to be out of your stomach within 5 minutes, and you're going to be fine. Like, you're going to take the nutritional stuff in your stomach, you're going to absorb it into your guts, the protein, the fats, the sugars, and then the water, you just piss it out, and that's it. It's efficient. There's only real ingredients here, no bullshit. That's the first point, which easy digestion. It's a bunch of protein, easy digestion. 5 minutes, it's done. No trouble. You don't have to sit down to take a meal. You can just carry your fucking bottle around. I do this. Bottle of raw milk, you carry it around. It's easy to do. Second point, balanced nutrition. In a bottle of raw milk, unlike a whey shaker, in a whey shaker, you have whey protein. That's it. And some sugar, by the way. Not natural carbs that you would find in the grass. No, white sugared powder. I mean, white powdered sugar added into the whey protein. So ultra-processed sugar added into your ultra-processed whey, which makes the ultra-processed soup in water. While the milk, the raw milk, is super fucking balanced. If I'm talking about whole milk here, of course, but if you take raw milk, you're mostly talking about milk that hasn't been processed, therefore milk with the cream. But of course, some raw milks have been skimmed out of the fat, right? So that they made butter with the fat, and they sometimes sell just the milk without the cream. in which case it's less balanced, but it's still very, very healthy. But I'm talking to you about the balanced, natural one that comes straight out the cow titties. You know, this milk has everything you fucking need, all right? It has a healthy amount of protein, so as I said earlier, if it ate grains, it's probably at 33 grams of protein per liter of milk. But if it ate grass, if it's a high quality cow that ate top quality shit its whole life, it's probably around 44 grams of protein per liter, right? So in the end, it's more than a protein shaker. You know, it's depending on the quality of milk. You can look it up. I mean, when you buy a bottle of raw milk, if it's a little farm that hasn't done the numbers, right? They just sell you a glass bottle with just milk and you don't have the label, then you don't really know, you can't tell. But the point is, it's a natural ingredient. You don't have to care about the numbers, just drink it. But some little farms have done the lab analysis to see how much protein they have, and they have like 45 grams of protein per liter, which is insane. It's an amazing ratio. And then, that's not the only thing you have in the fucking raw milk. You have the protein. You have the fats. The fats, which, butter, of course, right? It's the cream, which when you mix it makes butter. But as in the milk, the balance is that there's everything needed for a baby cow to grow, for life to grow on the planet, right? Now, you can get into the argument it's for baby cows, not humans, but my response to this point is, it's not for cows, it's just for babies. And it just so happens that it's a cow, right? But milk from every animal has pretty much the same ratios, right? It varies a little here and there. Some have a little more fat, some a little more protein. But what it comes down to is, it's just for baby animals that are not independent. They're not independent, therefore they have to get food from their parents in the form of milk, because it's easy and they don't have to go hunt, which they're not able to do yet. They don't have the strength, right? So, it's just liquid, it's for babies. Well, we're not babies, but what I mean is, it has everything needed for a baby to grow. Therefore, it has everything a human needs, all right? That's the thing. It has the fats, all types of vitamins and shit like this, which, by the way, the fats, once you'll digest them at night with the cholesterol, will help you produce healthy hormones so that the next day, your testosterone is higher. You produce testosterone overnight if you have good sleep, and cholesterol is needed to produce healthy amounts of testosterone, and fats are needed to produce hormones in general, to produce estrogen, to produce cortisol, to produce everything, right? You want to consume fats to have a healthy hormone balance. So if you just drink a whey shaker, you don't have fats in it, what you're doing is you're taking in protein, but you don't give a fuck about your hormones, which means if your hormones are fucked and you drink 100 grams of protein, you're going to piss out 80 grams of protein and use a tiny amount. You need your hormone balance to be great at a very amazing level, to have good sleep and high testosterone in the morning. So you have to care about your hormones, your testosterone, so that you will use your protein efficiently. In fact, if you're aiming for 220 grams of protein as a gym bro, but you have shitty hormones, you would probably be better off with 160 grams, so much less, but having perfect hormones. Like, you will gain more muscles this way, right? You have more muscle protein synthesis, you have more growth hormone, more testosterone, which will lead to more muscle production from the protein you're taking in. Or while if you eat 220 but your system's inflamed, you feel like shit, you're not going to be using the protein in the best way. So, the milk, the raw milk, has everything you need. Fats, sugars, protein, in life's fucking balance, right? With whey shakers, it's not life balance, it's human-made balance, which we don't know shit about what humans need. We don't know exactly, we really don't know how much protein you need per meal. Some people tell you it's actually 30 grams per meal. It's bullshit. It's been proved that some people eat one meal with 90 grams of protein and they grow more than people who have one meal every 2 hours of 30 grams of protein, you know? So we don't know the numbers. So you better go for the nature stuff, which is literally milk. It's made by fucking God. It's the best quality, all right? So you want milk, which is a natural product that has natural balance, that will have everything that you need to grow, all right? Compared to a whey shaker, does not have everything. Next, raw milk has all 9 amino acids. So what protein are? Protein are amino acids. Casein, the proteins that are in milk, casein protein, whey protein are the 2 main ones which have all the amino acids needed for humans. which means milk literally has everything you need to grow. All amino acids, which, you know, the problem with, that's often argued about vegan stuff and vegetarian stuff, is that it doesn't have all amino acids, right? So it's not sustainable to be vegetarian or vegan because you will miss some amino acids that you will have to supplement, all right? With milk, you could drink only fucking milk for the rest of your life and you would be fine because it has everything that you need. All amino acids, all vitamins, everything, and you'll be fine, right? So because it has all 9 amino acids, it's a very complete food. Like, I'm not joking when I say it has fucking everything that you need, guys. Like, if you're finished with your workout, you're down a pint of milk, you don't need anything else for the next 2-3 hours, all right? You're good, you're gonna grow with just the fucking milk. Next, in raw milk, so that's the difference between pasteurized and raw, right? In raw milk, there's potent bacteria like lactobacillus. So lactobacillus is just a family of bacteria, but there's thousands in it, thousands of different lactobacillus, and the bifidobacterium, same shit. So different types of bifidobacterium. So what these bacteria can do is, so when you're told raw milk, right, you're told, oh, salmonella, you're gonna die, right, that type of shit. But guess what? If your system is used to having a lot of lactobacillus because you drink a lot of raw milk, a lot of cheese, a lot of type of shit like this, and you have a lot of lactobacillus and bifidobacterium in your guts, these two bacteria are able to kill things like salmonella, E. coli, and stuff like this. So let's say you get infected by salmonella. You eat chicken, boom, salmonella. Oh shit, I have salmonella now. Except when you digest it, the chicken goes into your stomach, into your guts, and in your guts, the lactobacillus that you have in your system because you drink a lot of, you can get it from fermented foods, so fermented foods, raw milk and stuff like this, because you eat a lot of these things, you're going to kill the salmonella in you, and it's not going to infect you. So that's not a 100% chance thing, right? But there is a chance that the lactobacillus or the bacteria that you have in your gut kills the salmonella. So that's why it's important to eat things that come straight from nature, not processed, not pasteurized, not sterilized, because bacteria actually help you be healthier in this fucking planet, right? So if you have lactobacillus or bifidobacterium in your gut in high quantity, it will boost your immunity. It's going to kill things that come from the outside and kill your immunity. And there's also a lot of research done on the fact that the more variety of bacteria you have in your intestines, you know, some people that stay inside. Let's look at kids. There's a study about kids like this, that kids that are outside when they play as kids, you know, before the age of 5, the kids that play outside, that run in the mud, that go to the beach, blah, blah, that eat dirt and shit like this, are much healthier and less autistic. Like the rate of autism is 0 in kids that go outside, while kids that stay inside to play video games, look at screens, like look at the TV and stuff like this, kids that spend their time inside have a lot more autism and a lot more brain issues, like mental illnesses, from being inside. So there's a lot of things that we don't really know about that we are discovering in science, that the fact that you are inside or outside is changing the fact that if you're a kid that plays outside, you're going to be exposed to much more bacteria from the world. And when you are exposed to the bacteria, you know, you play with dirt, you touch your face, you put it in your eyes and shit like this, the bacteria goes in you and your body adapts to it. And the more bacteria you've seen, the more you're going to be healthy. And the more you're going to be able to take on dangerous bacteria and survive, right? That's how immunity works. The more you've been exposed, the more you're going to resist. So nowadays, there's a lot of brain issues and mental illnesses because people have stayed inside their whole childhood. Me, starts with me, right? I remember my first memory is playing Mario Sunshine, I think in 2004, on the Nintendo GameCube. That's the first memory I have. And I've been inside the whole fucking time playing video games. Also Pokemon XD, right? Do you remember this game? Anyway, I was inside too much, now I'm fucked up. It doesn't mean it makes you retarded, but it makes you very socially awkward. You don't fit in the mass. And also, you're less healthy than just people that stay outside more often. Yeah, that's just a fucking fact. So anyway, you want to expose yourself to bacteria, and raw milk Of course, it has to be processed nicely and done in a clean farm, right? Don't trust some fucking old dirty guy that doesn't clean the farm, right? You have to source it from a trustable place. But once you've done the trust part, you can go ahead and expose your body to new bacteria. It's going to make you healthier. Now, I'm not responsible if you get sick, right? But if you get sick, you go take some, how is it called? Antibiotics. So, next. With pasteurized stuff, so when I say pasteurized milk, I mean pasteurized, which is at 70 degrees Celsius. I mean sterilized, which is UHT milk, so in milk cartons, that's sterilized. I also mean whey powder, because when you're extracting the whey, in 99% of cases, there is a little amount of whey production that is made by a cold extraction, which is healthier, but still you're removing all the fats and all the natural stuff. You're taking only the whey. You're putting in your system something that's not balanced, which means you're going to piss out 80% of it. Anyway, pasteurized and sterilized stuff, whey and milk and cheese and everything, gives digestive issues, right? I'm lactose intolerant, yet I drink 1 liter of raw milk per day and I have no issue. So this might make you think, oh, this guy is not actually lactose intolerant. Listen, from the age of 4, I guess, to 22, I've been drinking only pasteurized milk and I loved it. But I was gassy as fuck the whole time and I had a lot of acne. And that's the thing. A lot of acne issue comes from the fact that you're consuming stuff that you are not able to digest properly, you're not able to process. And the pasteurized stuff, sterilized stuff, by killing all the bacteria that's in there and all the enzyme activity that's in those living products, whole products that come straight from nature. When products come straight from nature, they have bacteria from nature and also living enzymes and microorganisms, right? There's life on food when you eat it straight from nature. And when you pasteurize it or sterilize it, you kill 100% of it, which means you're only consuming dead foods, right? And by consuming dead foods, you're consuming basically just fuel. And when consuming fuel, you're not able to digest it properly. Look at milk. In the case of milk, it's a lactose intolerance that we say, right? And it's not an allergy, it's an intolerance. And how come it happens this way? It's because when you digest it, usually the lactobacillus bacteria and the bifidobacterium bacteria acting together with your stomach enzymes, with your intestine enzymes, help you digest lactose, which makes it so that when you're consuming raw products, in 99% of cases, you don't get any intolerance. You get intolerance when you're consuming processed, pasteurized, or sterilized foods, which makes it so that all the natural living microorganisms that would help you digest the food are not here. Therefore, the lactose just has to go through and you can't digest it yourself, which gives you gas issues, which gives you gut inflammation. And gut inflammation leads to overall inflammation of your nervous system, makes you feel like shit, gives you acne everywhere, makes you tired overall, and makes your brain slow down. Brain fog is a very real thing that comes from this kind of things, all right? Next, and one of the last things that you can find in raw milk is leucine. So leucine is an amino acid that is fucking awesome. And also there's another one that's lactoferrin, I forgot to mention. I wanted to say leucine and lactoferrin. So lactoferrin is a protein. What lactoferrin does, it's basically a growth hormone, a growth steroid hormone. It's a steroid protein that makes you grow much faster and recover much faster, and it's one protein that actually is destroyed by heat. So when you sterilize milk, you kill this protein, all right? It's not because it's protein that it's stable, all right? Of course, proteins get damaged by heat. And when you pasteurize or sterilize the milk, you kill the lactoferrin, which means you're killing a bunch of the growth aspect of it, right? A bunch of the growth that would make baby cow grow into a big, strong cow, which would help you grow as a big, strong human. You're destroying that, which means you lose some of the potential of the growth. And then leucine, what does leucine do? It helps you preserve muscle mass. So which means when you're, for example, you're fasting in the morning, which I do, when you're fasting, you'll start burning your fat. When you don't have any more sugar in your system, you burn your fat and your muscle, all right? You burn fat and muscle together as a store of energy, right? But you don't want to burn your muscles, right? The thing with leucine is that it allows you to maintain more muscle and burn more fat instead of the muscle, which is something you absolutely want if you're trying to get big, all right? Fucking amazing. Next, it pushes growth hormone production. Leucine will help you literally grow because it's going to push your hormone production. That's what I've been saying about the fats. But it's also something that happens with the amino acids in the protein, right? In the leucine and in the hormones and in the cholesterol. Those are all things that will push your hormone production and push your growth hormone. You understand, if you drink just whey powder without the growth hormone, I mean, that's not going to push your growth hormone production, then you're not going to grow necessarily much. In fact, you'll be inflamed by the fact that your gut hasn't been able to digest all this whey. Now you'll be lazy, you'll be tired, you'll be feeling like shit, you'll be having protein fat that smell very bad, which is a side effect of the ultra-processed dairies, by the way. If you drink raw milk, you don't have the protein fat issues, right? So if you take only whey powder, you will not have all these hormone benefits, which means that you lose 30-50% of the gain potential, right? That's crazy. Next, it increases your energy level. So leucine is something that will make you feel better overall throughout the day. And just because that's not even due to only leucine, but just the fact that you're consuming a whole food straight from nature that's not damaged, that has everything that God gave it, which will help it digest itself better in your stomach. It's actually made this way. Because it has everything, it means you're going to have a smooth digestion. It's not going to make you tired. It's not going to inflame your gut, your intestines. It's not going to inflame your liver, not going to inflame your nervous system. Therefore, make you feel better overall, not have brain fog, not have acne. All right? Try it out. If you have a lot of acne because you drink processed dairy, try only raw milk for 1 month. Of course, you limit the amount of, you don't want to consume too much fats, right? So I suggest you eliminate all the ultra-processed fats and you drink only natural fats. You will lose your fucking acne. Tell me in the comments if it changed you. Anyway, so you increase your energy levels by consuming raw milk and because of the leucine, but mostly because it's just a whole foods that just changes your life. And also, leucine increases your cognitive abilities. It makes you think faster. It's like creatine. There's also a little bit of creatine in milk, but not to crazy extent. But leucine, it's been proven that I have a friend, social media, Crypto. Do you know this guy? This big crypto account. He's been doing this experiment with leucine because he's a health maxer now that he has a lot of money. He spends all his money on his health, which is something I love. I would, if I was rich like him, I would spend all my money on my health. So he's been doing this experiment with leucine, and he found out that with more leucine, he ranks in chess, he plays chess, he ranks like twice higher when he's on leucine, on more leucine, than when he isn't. So his brain is just better at thinking, at making fucking chess moves while he's on leucine. But that's just one case, right? There's a lot more study that's been done on it that prove that leucine pushes your brain efficiency. It's the same benefit as fasting, right? If you don't have too much sugar in your system, you don't have brain fog, your brain works better. That's kind of the same thing that happens here, except here it doesn't fix brain fog, it just makes your brain function better. So it's the kind of things you want to add up. You want to eliminate brain fog through fasting, through this kind of stuff, and increase the leucine so that your brain can be sharper. You know? This kind of shit. All of this are the benefits of raw milk, all right? So that's the kind of things I want you to learn and to implement in your daily life, right? Of course, be careful about where you source your milk from. Don't trust any random bullshit. But you want to introduce whole foods that come from nature into your system, right? If your environment is dirty as fuck and full of chemicals, maybe don't do it. But you want to start living in places where you are able to consume food from nature so that you'll be able to have the living organisms from outside, inside your body, making your body function better, all right? So that's all you have to know about raw milk. If you're interested in learning more about food like this, learning how to become more efficient as a human, more how to perform better, how to have your brain work better, lose the brain fog, lose the laziness, because laziness is a product of your nutrition. You can fix laziness through what you eat. If you want to learn more about all this, I have a program, one-to-one program, where I go with my clients in depth about how to change the foods in terms of, their personal lives. Some they have different jobs and you have to adapt it to their own specific cases. If you're interested in working with me, you can book a call in the description and we'll see if you're a right fit for my program. Otherwise, if you're interested, I also have my course in which I only have lessons, right? In my one-to-one program, you have access to my full course and a lot more. I actually will be coaching you and giving you a dashboard into which I'll be able to track everything you do, give you things to do and teach you more things. But I also have a little course with only the lessons. And if you're interested in learning more through my lessons, you can join my school course in the description, which is currently at $400. And hopefully you learn a lot of it, you learn a lot from it. And then if you're interested, you join my school, you learn a lot, you want to join my one-to-one program, it's actually doable. You won't pay an extra fee, just join the school and you complete the fee to join the one-to-one program. All right, thanks for watching. Press like, press follow on the YouTube, always press follow on the YouTube. And I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.